When you have one disorder, it's very likely that you have another, and that's referred to as comorbidity, the presence of two or more disorders. One disorder co-occurs with the other primary condition. Hi, I'm Kemi. This is where we unearth freedom, share new perspectives, and learn new ways of living, one experience at a time. Now, I'm not a psychiatrist, but for almost 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with bipolar 2, which is characterized by having a pattern of depressive episodes followed by hypomanic episodes. Bipolar 2 is marked by at least one depressive episode lasting at least 2 weeks and at least one hypomanic episode lasting at least 4 days. And what it can typically look like is like 3 months of depression followed by weeks or months of this hypomanic state. And with bipolar, there's also like mixed states, and then there's also bipolar 1. But many people with bipolar 2 are often misdiagnosed with just having depression because there's that hypomania, the lift that comes thereafter, where you just get like a ton of energy and you're extremely talkative and you feel on top of the world and you usually are just reckless with money. And it's a thing that a lot of psychiatrists tend to miss. But that leads to bipolar 2 being misdiagnosed within a lot of people. And many people with bipolar 2 show a wide range of symptoms. As high as 20% of those with bipolar 2 also have ADHD. At the same time, bipolar 2 and ADHD share a lot of the same symptoms in general: executive dysfunction, restlessness, mood changes, a struggle to self-regulate, distractibility, struggling with money and like time, and all of those things, they tend to be very similar. While the mood disorders or mood episodes of bipolar 2 may last months, they're still episodic. So that's the key difference, is that the mood episodes of bipolar 2, they're episodic, whereas ADHD symptoms are persistent and consistent, pretty much always underlying things that you feel and deal with on such a daily basis. And not to say that people with bipolar 2 don't experience things on a daily basis, but it's just like with ADHD, it's something that is persistent. So it's consistently something that you're working on, constantly remembering to pick things up after yourself, trying your best to set a timer for the toast so that it doesn't get burnt. Nevertheless, I am medicated for one of them, but not the other, for personal reasons, and also because a lot of ADHD meds combinations would actually worsen the mood portion of the bipolar disorder in the long run. This is just for me personally. This is not for everyone. Stimulants, even down to coffee, is an absolute no-go for me. Like sometimes I hear about the other bipolar baddies who drink coffee and I'm like, I just don't know how you do it. The deterioration after, like the come down, brings so much instability emotionally for me. So I tend to navigate the persistent sides of me a bit unmedicated. I've tried so many different things for organization, for systems, for cleanliness, and you really got to figure out like what type of person you are. For me, I've tried things like Notion and the Pinterest boards and all the fancy things, but in the long run, it's always been the most simple organization systems that I found to be incredibly helpful over the years. For me, it's about building rituals, a sense of devotion, building endurance, and shifting my mindset. For people with mood disorders, ritual and routine is so essential because there are so many triggers for bipolar disorder that can just completely throw you off, right? It could be moving, it could be changing locations, it could be traveling, it could be staying up late. Genuinely, staying up late, not getting enough sleep is such a trigger for bipolar disorder and for the different episodes. But for me, it's the routine, it's the rituals, and building endurance and devotion with that really changes things. Some people with ADHD are very reward-based, like my son. Rewards work absolutely great for him. But for me, I'm more progress-driven. That's what fuels my motivation, and that's why I say it's super important for you to figure out like what it is that fuels you. So for me, it has to be a mindset. And if I see and I know it in my head, I transform it into a bit of a competition with myself. 6 things that I found to really help me over the years. The first one is the one-touch rule, and essentially you have one chance to put it where it goes. The one-touch rule is once you lay a hand on it, where does it go? Put it where it goes. And this has really transformed things for me because it's genuinely, I'll pick up something and I'll be like, I only have one touch. And Sometimes that can bring a bit of anxiety, but at the same time, it feels more like a competition. And mind you, I have Aries placements. I'm a Sagittarius. Like, if I make it a bit competitive for myself, then it's like, okay, I feel that urgency. Boom, I'm doing it and it's done. The second one is the 24-hour rule. So if you're someone who struggles with feeling like it's hard to make decisions or be productive, give yourself 24 hours to get it done. You have 24 hours with this rule to decide if you're going to do it or not. And it's basically like within those 24 hours, you have to make it happen. And obviously there are things that are more long-term that won't happen. But for example, if I know that like I would like to look at houses, then it's like, okay, I'm reaching out to these people and within 24 hours, I need to have set up a time to go view the house. Like that would be the 24-hour rule. If you're not good with decisions or if you're struggling with being productive in general, hey, you have 24 hours to do this and you have one touch to put things where they go. The third thing, this has been something that I've used for years now. My notes app, oh my goodness, it saves me every single day of the year. Every single week I have a new notes. It's called Focus This Week. And I write every single day down the night before. So on the notes app, it'll say 12/19/2024. And the first thing I always put in this notes, the list, is 1, wake up. It's incredibly important to highlight the small wins in order to build momentum. It might not seem like a lot to say 1, wake up, but it is. And that's what we are doing here. So put it in your notes app, or write the list. About the day when I find myself getting lost, because I just tend to get like, what am I doing now? I go immediately back to my notes app. It's what keeps me on top of things, and it's essential in being productive and staying organized and just feeling like you know what you're doing, right? I literally put wake up, morning routine, brush my teeth, take my meds, and then like the other few things that I have to do for the day, and it just fuels you. Another system that's really helped me is having a calendar right in front of my face. So sometimes we get calendars that are like books, but it's really great if you can have a physical calendar on your wall. I used to have it hanging right above my bed, and it would just be the things that I'm doing for that day. So I wake up and I look over and it's right there in front of my face. Okay, we're getting things started. Calendar, physical calendar. 5 is journaling everything all the time. I keep my journal on me at all times. When my brain feels overloaded with emotions or thoughts, I literally just journal it out. Sometimes I'm just making lists in my journal. Sometimes I'm processing emotions. Sometimes I'm just planning things out, but it has to get out of my mind or it will just sit there and then get cluttered and confusing. And tangibly putting it outside tends to be a sort of release for me. And the last one, clear organization tools. Clear organization, period. Like for your makeup, for your food, for your books, under your sink. Like put it in something that is clear for you to see. Everything needs to be visible for you so that you know what you have access to and what is around you. It also helps to just keep things a bit clean and neat overall. Ultimately, it's about things being tangible. It's about things being a bit more simple, about building motivation and momentum and having these like competitions with myself in a way. That ultimately is what helps me. It's really in my mind. If I feel like there's no progress or I'm so behind that there can't be progress, then I get super overwhelmed and can just throw everything off. It gets emotionally heavy and then I don't know where to start and it's just messy. So to be organized and structured, I aim to mitigate the overwhelm before anything can pile up, which means small things daily. Once it piles up, it's just game over. Like, good luck, you know? But overall, these are my go-tos to stay organized and productive on top of things. Of course, that doesn't account for the emotional dysregulation that people with ADHD experience, but honestly, that's a video for another time. Navigating neurodivergency in general is not easy. Sometimes you'll be ahead and on top of things, other times you'll fall off. Life just happens, okay? Like, just give yourself grace overall, but finding what works is truly trial and error. You could love a system of organization for a year and hey, maybe next year you've outgrown it, right? It's just a journey of learning what works and what doesn't work. Don't be mad at yourself. Oh, and one more thing. You have 3 days to get back on top of your routine if you have fallen off of it. I don't know the science behind it. I just know you have 3 days. So if you feel yourself falling off, you either need something new or you just need to hop back on it within 3 days and try again. But you'll figure it out. You'll figure out what works for you and all will be well in the end. Just keep on going and things will fall into place.